Welcome to the Monday Monologue, and welcome to 2024, which should be an exciting year for my YouTube channel, and specifically my business, Skunky Designs LLC. Today was officially the first day that we're in business, and I've been ordering piles of parts to build these amplifiers. And again, the first batch, I'm going to build about 5 of them. Got to do the first 2 prototypes. One's going to have ED core. One of them's going to have musical power supply, output transformers. And I need to audition both of them and see which one I'm going to be using for the output transformers for this first batch that we're going to be building. Also, on the first batch, I decided that I'm not going to get all involved with putting the triode ultralinear switch or switchable feedback, although the layout is done in a way that it shouldn't be hard to add that into a future like deluxe model. Also, I think the switches will go like right here between all the tubes. Not supposed to be hot switching these, ultralinear triode thing. I know people do it. I know some of those China amps even have it on their remote control. I don't think that's a good idea to be hot swapping between triode and ultralinear. And also don't think it's a good idea to be like hot swapping the feedback. I did that on another amp and definitely got some crazy pops and stuff switching around, which is telling me that you got a lot of voltage popping around in there. And you're going to have almost 400 volts on the contact of the switch. So I'm going to put them in a place where you should turn the amp off, let the tubes cool down, and then you can switch it to the other mode and then power it back up. But again, that's going to be in a future model. I'm also going to let people tell me where they want to put the RCA jacks. If you put them back here and you get one that is not a volume control type unit, you can put one of those little shit audio boxes with some short RCA jacks to right here, and you can have a switchable input with a volume control box sitting right next to the amp. Or you can have it go right over your preamp. Now if your preamp has got jacks on the top, you might want to put the jacks here on the top of this amp, which I'm leaving space here for either jacks or a volume control or both. And I'll show you that when we do the insides. And I'm really excited about the way all the tag strips and everything are laying out. I think it's going to be a really sweet design. And just waiting on a few more parts to come in before we get into that part of this. Back to the RCA jacks. If somebody wants them in the back, I can put them back there. Just I wouldn't do it if you're running like some of those 100+ decibel super hypersensitive speakers. You want as clean an input signal as you can get on those kind of speakers. But if you're running just your average, RP600Ms or whatever kind of, 90-ish decibel speakers, I can put them in the back if you want to. So we're going to leave that up to the individual buyer. When you order the amp, you can do that. I think I'm going to stick with this hammer tone finish and this gold tone for now. Like I said, I'm putting together, a BOM with everything that the amp needs to build so I can keep track of it. Ordering, like I said, boxes of parts to be able to build these things. The big expense, of course, is the transformers. None of them are cheap. And so each amp's going to have several $100s worth of iron in them. And so, that's going to kind of limit how many of them I can build at a time. Plus, doing the chassis fab work. The first batch, again, I'm going to hand fab them and then get my friend to do a CAD drawing and go out and see how much a fab shop's going to charge me to do this fab work. That leads up to doing kits. I know a lot of people were interested in buying some sort of a kit form of this. And, if you can leave in the comments below if you're okay with sourcing your own iron. if I tell you which Hammond transformers to buy, because it seems silly to me to have this heavy, expensive to ship iron. Like Edcore charges $30 to ship these transformers to me. And then, of course, if I buy, 10 at a time, I'm sure I'll get a break on the shipping. But anyway, the heavier these things are shipping to you, the more the shipping's going to be. And it seems kind of silly to be shipping the heavy parts of this to me and then to you when you can just have the stuff shipped directly to you and save that money. The other thing would be, obviously, I'm sure you guys would want the chassis all fabbed up. So, that's would be part of the process. But do you want them included with these tube rings or not? They'd probably add about $30 to the cost of the kit. But I think it really adds a lot to what they look like. And like the little nameplates, another $10. So there's, $40-50 of the kit's going to be kind of dress up stuff. And I don't know if y'all want that optional. Anyway, the kits are kind of off in the future. They're probably going to be more like mid-end of the summer before I even start dealing with that, because I can't do kits if I'm hand fabbing the chassis. That's just too much work, and it would just be too expensive to deal with. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at on this. I've got my LLC all, totally set up. Got all my paperwork all done. I did a video on creating that stuff. Still waiting on the last little bit of the bank stuff, getting that sorted out. They're like mailing me some things that I need to verify XYZ, that my mailing address is real and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that'll be here the next day or two and I can get the bank finalized. I got to work with the DRR, Department of Revenue, about getting a tax exempt status for, my little manufacturing thing I got going on here. And then I got to figure out how sales tax works. I don't think it's really going to be an issue. It sounds like that until you go over like selling $100,000 a year in most states, they're not expecting you to deal with sales tax on internet sales. Obviously, companies like Amazon, eBay, and all those kind of folks, they're way over that. But for a small company like me, that's probably be crazy if I sold 3 amps to the same state in a year. And so, I don't think I'm going to have to really stress over the sales tax. I think unless you live in Georgia, because that's where this is located. So anyway, I don't think that's going to end up being a huge problem, but I do want to get tax exempt status on buying the parts, because that adds up really quick. On a $200 order, that's $20 or close to it. So anyway, trying to think about what else is really going on. I've been doing some educational videos about doing load lines and also about designing power supplies. And we're really going to do a deep dive on how this amp works, because this is a really nice, simple amp. It's not a lot of parts in the signal path and all that stuff. And so I think this is a great opportunity to really teach folks about how tube gear works, because I don't want people buying these kits and I don't know how to read a schematic. Well, you probably shouldn't be doing this, because I can't handhold people building kits that don't know how to read a schematic, or that need you got to show me which point on every tag strip that each thing goes in a written instruction manual with pictures. I can't do that. That's just way too much work. I mean, that's probably a week or two's worth of work, and having people proofread it and then having a 40-page manual printed up to give with each kit and stuff. That's not how this is going to work. So anyway, let me know in the comments if that all kind of makes sense as far as the kit things, because I have a feeling the kits could end up being a lot more popular than the pre-built amps are. But I don't know. We'll just have to see how all this goes. So anyway, I think I'm going to keep this week's Money Monologue kind of short. Oh yeah, one other thing I wanted to talk about, or clear the air on. I keep getting comments or emails from people accusing me of singling out manufacturers. I haven't singled out anyone. If you go back and look at my history of videos, whether it was Rysong or Wilsonton or Musishare or some of these other no-name preamps that were sent to me, I just report on what I find. And like that one preamp that was sent to me that had just junk RCA jacks that fell apart the first time I unplugged the cable from it, and then when I opened it up, the safety ground on the three-way power cord wasn't even connected to anything. It was just like not connected. So I'm going to call that kind of stuff out. And yeah, I like the way the Musishare amp was built, but it still had some issues, I thought, and wasn't real crazy about the bias pots or the meters they used. They were kind of cheap, and the one I fixed, actually, the meter gave out a few weeks after I sent it back to the guy, and he was like, hey, it sounds good. I'm just going to measure the bias some other way and not worry about the meter on the front. And like the Wilsonton amps, I gave the R8 a great review after they fixed the problems that I found with it. So, I mean, I don't know if this commenter meant that, but they were like, you better watch it. You're going to, somebody's going to sue you for singling them out. I will quit making YouTube videos before I start just candy coating and giving every product that comes across my bench a glowing review, no matter what they are, because I'm afraid that I'll get in trouble for doing that. And like I said, I'm just not going to do that. And I think people subscribe to my channel and they like my videos because I don't do that. So I just wanted to kind of clear up the air on that. And you know what? If somebody ends up trying to sue me over this, then I'll go to court and I'll hire an attorney and defend myself, because I haven't done anything to one company that I haven't done to other companies equally. And if you don't want to get bad reviews, quit making bad products. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap it up for the Money Monologue for this week. Again, thanks to all you Patreon supporters. I really appreciate it. Thanks also to you folks that make donations for my website. If you really get something out of my channel that helps you with your bills or stuff, consider making a donation. Even small ones go a long way. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. And we'll see you next week for the Monday Monologue.